this week, the dude stamp is, drum roll please, Gunner Stockton, quarterback, Georgia. And this is not a surprise. It's a surprise to me a little bit. It's not a surprise to anybody who watched that game over the weekend. And Gunner Stockton, if you don't know anything about him, this guy just epitomizes what Kirby Smart wants at the quarterback position, wants in terms of representing his football team. He responded in such a huge way in Knoxville. You talk about a team that took some haymakers early, down 21-7, trailing late in the game by 8 points, needed to come back, engineers a touchdown scoring drive, 2-point conversion success. Georgia ultimately ends up winning the game in overtime. Stockton, 23 of 31, completed 74% of his passing attempts for his first ever 300-yard passing game. He had 2 touchdowns to go with it. Georgia escapes on the road, which quite honestly was one of the best games of college football that I have watched in a really long time. And I thought to myself, people always say, how would you explain the game of American college football to someone who's never seen it before? And I would say, okay, go back and watch a copy of this game. 2:30 Central Time, Neyland Stadium, Knoxville, Tennessee. It had everything. College Game Day, Pat McAfee. It had the crew. It had Herb Street. It had Fowler. It had a transfer quarterback with an underdog story. It had another underdog story in Gunner Stockton, really trying to feel his way and become the guy for the Georgia Bulldogs. And this game went back and forth, haymakers. And it was what I would categorize as a win-at-all-costs type of game. And granted, we're week 3 of the college football season. This game has a lot of playoff implications for 2 teams that, after this game, I think it's safe to say, will be in that conversation. But what a game, man. And for Josh Heupel, given the set of circumstances that he had after Nico Iamaleava decided to hit the transfer portal, they go out, they get Joey Aguilar from UCLA by way of Appalachian State. This young man played his tail off. First player in Tennessee history with 300-plus passing yards, 4 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown in a game versus an AP top 10 team. Granted, Peyton Manning played quarterback at Tennessee. So did T. Martin. There are a lot of really good players that came through that program that have played quarterback there. Gunner Stockton, on the other end, just kept showing up and showing up and showing up. If you read my article that I did for CBS Sports before the game, I talked about Georgia's right side of their offensive line being a potential problem area. It was. Gunner Stockton was on his back, feeling pressure throughout the game, and Georgia rotated a plethora of guys. You saw guys like Bo Hewley late in the second half. You saw Michael Uini. You saw Ernest Green, who started the game. You saw Juan Gaston at right guard. You saw Dontrell Glover at right guard. For Stacy Searles and Kirby Smart, they were just trying to figure it out. What did they do in the second half? They have a beautiful drive to start the second half, tone setting, run the ball right down Tennessee's throats. And that was really something that I think kind of took the air out of Neyland until Joey Aguilar was able to find Chris Brazzell on a huge explosive play. And then we went back and forth all over again. So a beautiful game. It is a beautiful game, this sport that we love to cover and we love to talk about. And if you're Georgia, think about it this way. It was a fourth 14-point comeback under Kirby Smart, third versus an AP top 15 team, but the first under Smart in a road game. This game was everything that Kirby Smart tries to indoctrinate into his locker room, for lack of a better term. This is a 4-quarter program. And when the going gets tough, the tough get going. And that's exactly what Georgia did. And I will say this. Yes, they needed a couple third down conversions. They needed a fourth down conversion. They needed Tennessee's top 2 DBs to be out. They needed a missed field goal at the end of regulation to go in overtime. They need a lot of things, but that happens. That's the game. You have to execute. And they had a little bit of luck, but they took advantage of it. That's a team. When you have the opportunity to take their will, you have to do it. And that's the difference between Georgia and a lot of other teams out there. You can't give them 9 lives because Kirby Smart is one of those type of guys. He's going to cash it in. He's going to take advantage of it. Took less than 3 plays for Georgia in overtime to punch it in behind Josh McCray for a touchdown. So Georgia, to me, is a really interesting team. I didn't expect them to give up 40-plus points. And in no world, if you would have told me that they were going to give up 40-plus points and that they would win, I'd say no way. Georgia was averaging 3.6 yards depth of target against Austin Peay the week before. There was no semblance of a vertical passing game. What did they do? First play, Colby Young, they target Ty Redmond, the freshman from Georgia, and they did that early and they did that often. I mentioned the 2 starting corners being out for Tennessee. That was the difference in the game. Jermon McCoy out, potential first-round draft pick. Ricky Gibson out. One of those guys is healthy. Tennessee wins this game. They targeted Ty Redmond 9 times, completing 6 passes for 113 yards and a touchdown. Whenever Georgia needed a big play, they went after number 4. Ty Redmond's going to be a really good football player, but it's his first start in the SEC. Just means more. Welcome. Now you got to go up. You got to defend Colby Young. You got to defend London Humphreys. You got to tackle Zachariah Branch in space. Here's the thing the stats won't show is that they threw to his side, especially in the screen game. They ran to his side in the running game. And they put him in conflict to where he was either going to have to make a play or he wasn't. And Georgia was able to capitalize off of that. And if you're Mike Bobo, that's exactly what you're supposed to do. Zach Branch was the version of what we thought he could be at Georgia. We saw that. The tight ends are so unbelievably detailed from a blocking standpoint, especially when they get to the second level. Kudos, man, because not a lot of people will talk about it. Lawson Lucky, Oscar Delp, Colby Young, Dylan Bell. It's the nuances that's kind of unleashed that perimeter run game. And the left side of that offensive line did enough. Monroe Freeling, Drew Bobo, left guard, forgetting his name, of course. But they did a really, really good job at the line of scrimmage. And Tennessee adjusted. Georgia came back, found some things that worked out for him, was able to get it done at the end. If you're Tennessee, everything that I just said that was a vulnerability for you is not going to be a vulnerability, I would guess, the rest of the season. You will get McCoy back. You will get Gibson back. Redmond then gives you depth and valuable playing experience. You have one of the best teams in the country on the ropes. And you let him off the hook. Denny Green. You let him off the hook. Defensively, you got to be better, but you got a budding star in Caleb Herring. Guy can play. And you find out what you had in Joey Aguilar in one of the biggest stages of college football. Guy played his tail off. Had an INT on a deep passing attempt. Really kind of served as a punt. I'm okay with it. Another one, miscommunication, probably on the receiver. I mean, he did everything that you could possibly imagine. Josh Heupel called a beautiful game. When it didn't work, it was because of execution. And 4 quarters of execution sometimes is hard to come by. So kudos to Georgia. Kudos to Gunner Stockton. He's officially dude stamped. And I'll say this about Gunner Stockton. I have been personally one of Gunner Stockton's biggest critics. You go back to last week, I was scratching my head and saying, how do you put a playoff product on the field with no legitimate passing game in the intermediate to deep part of the field? This guy got hit, he got put on his back, and he just showed up and showed up and showed up and showed up. 4th and 6, dot. 3rd and 7, dot. Knows what's coming, stands in there, takes a hit, drives a truck that has 300,000 miles on it. That's older than me. Tough, blue-collar, Kirby Smart, Stetson Bennett, mailman. You get the picture. What he proved is that people need to stop talking about him, at least for now. This is a great individual performance from him, and he has shown that he is worthy of being a quarterback for a team that can compete for a college football playoff and a national championship. So kudos to you, Gunner Stockton. I'm off your back, man. And I'll say this, that it really doesn't even tie in this conversation. What a great kid, man. Met him at the All-American Bowl. Great kid. Look you right in the eye, shake your hand. You can understand why his teammates in the locker room loves him, why they play hard for him. You cannot teach that stuff. He's brought up the right way. And he's resilient. I get it. It hasn't all been good. But when his best was needed, he delivered. That's what separates players, man.